Okay, here we go. We have our Masters Reinhardt. We've answered our question about wide swings, and here we are.
I live for a good fight.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Nothing to worry about. Unless there's something to worry about. As Dr. Liao always said.
Hmm.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Mission underway.
Activated.
Sure. You can drop that shield. Good. It's fine. Don't need to give up quite as much there. That's better. You're immediately going to cancel. There's nothing here. Okay. So that was a little bit too much. So as we go here, you know, we're obviously just fine-tuning because we're going to continue to fine-tune your aggression. We're also going to fine-tune our rewind distance. Fire strike is fine. We see that. Don't really need to be giving them shield here because it's not helping us. Like, it's not helping us to see them. We have a good enough idea of where they are. If we really wanted to peek, we'd actually probably peek over here to get our info on where they are.
Right, okay.
This is fine. You see that. You get the bubble, which you probably didn't want quite yet, but you're going to use it because you got it. Pull back appropriately. Probably don't need to push out for this swing again. Again, you're sort of from their perspective, you're breaking the corner pretty hard for this. And like, I don't think you're willing to round to finish off this Reinhardt because I don't think this Reinhardt is weak enough for you to finish off. And again, your team can't follow you on this rounding of the corner at all, and you know you're not getting a Zarya bubble. So this is just more exposure than you needed, and you're really letting them get a little bit back into the fight here. But fortunately, no real value to be had for them.
So should I play that corner like more tucked in?
Well, what it is, I mean, you're in a fine spot right now, and you can even be like standing almost half a Reinhardt in front of where you are and be fine. But did you see how you were out here swinging?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the problem. If you're here, no problem. If you're here and the McCree starts shooting you, so be it. You might have to put your shield up and take half a step back. But you can be like half a Reinhardt forward of where you are right here and be fine and still swing your hammer into the open just fine to pressure this Reinhardt. My issue is literally that you got yourself pulled forward there. Past the corner.
Okay.
I'd also look very hard to hit your fire strikes. Not very hard, but like when you're playing these kinds of corners where it's like, hey, there's a back entrance onto you, this fire strike is okay, but this fire strike tends to get you a little bit more. It's less where their eyeballs are. It tends to be a little easier to hit multi-person fire strikes from here.
Okay.
And again, this is much the same thing where it's like, okay, we've stepped out past the threshold, and there's just not enough reason to. If there's someone you can finish off, or if you're getting a Zarya bubble, sure, but you're not getting a Zarya bubble right here. Your Zarya's asleep, and you've sort of stepped out past the threshold. Literally just like, right here is great, right here, or right here is too much unless you have a Zarya bubble, or you have something that you're finishing off.
Okay.
And now you're purple. Hold you in your cover. You're gonna push up to your corner again. It's fine. I mean, it's not great, but it's gonna have to be fine. Okay.
Activated.
Why are we backing here, though? Like, we know we have enough control and we can potentially get our sort of game-opening fire strike again with how that wipe works.
I didn't think about that.
Okay.
Physical target.
Enemy target located.
Fire strike, retreat. Don't need you here. Still don't need you here.
Enemy target.
Sorry, it's fine on health. Don't need you here. This is way in the open for your fire strike. Again, we can be here, or we can look through here for the more cheeky fire strike that they're not going to see coming as well.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Sure. Yeah, okay. You just didn't react to your bubble fast enough. You have your bubble still from the shatter, so this should be a swing, not a shield, but no big.
Your shield.
And then you're worried about that. Okay. You can join her in it, or you can leave. Pause for just a second to get us above 9 frames, because that seems like a good idea. There we go. Yeah.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Reinhardt.
You're just late there. Like, by the time you even start this, you see it. Yeah, they're asleep before you've even hit the pin button.
That was just me being too reactionary about charges.
Yep.
Tactical visor activated.
In those situations like that, should I wait until like the Reinhardt is close to me
Yes.
to like press shift? Okay.
Yes, you wanted to let that Reinhardt be close to you to hit, or you wanted to let them be in a place. I'm not gonna rewind, but if we go back here, you wanted effectively the pin to happen around like here-ish, where your team can see you and their Reinhardt, but their team preferably can't see you or their Reinhardt, but at least can't see you. You know, you get a little bit more protection. You let them in a bit closer. Make them be more out of position when the stun happens.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, okay. It's like a little... You sort of are drawn in by the fact of, oh, we're chasing this, but you don't have your primary source quite here quite yet. You're sort of like 2 seconds early on pushing this, and I think you're baited in by that, and you don't need to be out yet for the cart. A little slow to start that swing, but good block. Really? I expected the pin here. I expected you were doing this because he had nowhere to go and the pin was going to sort of force that, and you were trying to take that. Is there a reason you didn't go for the pin here?
I would assume because like already used like my Zarya bubble, and
Hmm.
I think I'd probably get heavily punished if I
Oh, you
were to go
will.
for the charger.
If
Hmm.
you go for the charge and he just takes it, oh, it turns out you won't, but I'd expect that you will.
Yeah.
So I understand why you expect that you would. Um, I'm just not sure I care because A, he's very unlikely to let you pin him. Like it's just how Reinhardts are. He's going to counter pin you most of the time, which will leave you safe because it'll leave you right here. It's possible he tries to back up and then pin you, etc. It's possible he tries to dodge it and then you just knock him away. But if you knock him away, you're not really going to get punished for it. Um, and you do have your team here to support your pin, so like it's not the end of the world. But yes, I would expect that you'd get punished for it, but I don't want him wandering as this Nano Reinhardt either, and you've set him up with a it's tough situation, it's a confined area for him, so I'd have liked the pin here, but okay.
Okay.
And now that's gonna count. Perfect. It didn't cap. You guys were winning the fight, but I thought they were gonna make the cap happen regardless. Good. Mm-hmm.
Bad guys. Heads up.
A little bit of Rhine dancing going on here. Are you trying to bait them in? What are you doing? Like, why is your movement not swift and sure? Is sort of what I'm gonna get to here. Well, you're here.
So
Go ahead.
so I think the reason why I did this is because I was calling for like my team to break the shield because
Mm,
because to my understanding we had the better poke, so I was like, okay, by the time Brian gets here, he's gonna have his shield broken. I go for a shatter.
okay. So you were specifically trying to take a shield war for the shatter. Fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I just slow to start the second swing. So you go for
Oh,
the swing.
yeah. This was me not like taking me like a second to realize that Honda was there.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Because I was trying to figure out why it was taking you time to start this swing. Okay. And generally after you've hit her, you are going to sort of do shield flashes against Anna. It's not perfect, but you are sort of going to do shield flashes as soon as you've hit her with your hammer on each swing because you want to try to catch, well, this.
Okay.
So you know, and you know what I'm saying in terms of you start your swing, you swing it so that you're hit her with the early part of your swing, and then you cancel it into your shield, and you see if you caught it or not, and then you go into the next one. Which you're not always going to get her. They know the game too, but hey.
Физкульт, привет, привет.
Don't worry, my friends. I am your shield. Enemy gone.
Okay, where do you think this team is going right now?
Top left.
Okay, cool. So are you going to get a fire strike on them through here, or are you going to get a fire strike on them through here? Because you're going to get a fire strike on them on their advance, right?
That's true.
Okay.
Don't worry, my friends. I am your shield.
And if you think they're going this way, totally fine with me. If you swing a tiny bit wide and go, oh, I'm hitting my fire strike here, preferably after the Zarya's passed, and then I'll still be able to meet you here just fine.
Okay.
Enemy gone. Tactical visor activated.
Cool. There's our pen. A little scary. You did have it back in time. Take a look here. Yeah, you had it. No, you didn't have it back in time. Okay.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Mistake. You're already committed to being up here, so be it. Your whole team is up here. You're taking this fight, and you are taking this fight. So, I don't necessarily want you backing out here because you're just like you don't realize this, but you do in fact have your whole team here, and you're never gonna get out across this huge open space, and you can start to stop the car from moving. So I don't want you escorting your Zari out. I want you actually taking this fight.
Okay.
Greetings.
Oh yeah, this isn't gonna be better. This is gonna be worse. I think you had the right idea before. So here you are. That's not a real shield up. That was sort of a real shield up. Real shield up. Not a real shield up. Not a real shield up. Can we get a real shield hop? Like a real shield hop? I think people aren't looking at you enough. What I see on my screen isn't scary enough. I can get a real shield hop off here. And I can tell that your shield isn't going to like last to actually get you out to where you would want to hold. So like I would like to get one more real shield hop in here.
I was more concerned about the McCree behind me because I know they had a Hanzo. So like if I
Sure.
was a shield hop and then it got lucky arrow, yeah.
Yeah, you sort of have to be watching the Hanzo because there were moments when they didn't have a sight line, but that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Your health is low, but you have the bubble. Let's get back to how this unfolded. You're purple. You're back because you're purple, and you're not really close when the bubble goes out. Okay. You only get one good.
Down!
I don't really love that. This doesn't look aggressive enough to me. Like, the other team wants to push you, but the other team doesn't, like, desperately want to push you. This isn't like the other team using a beat where they're on a timer, or even the other team using a Valk where they're on a little bit of a timer, or a Blizzard where they want to push you. Like, there's a lot of things that they could that would be like, yes, they want to aggress hard. This, they sort of want to aggress you hard because they have one elimination. But you know, they know that they need people back here pushing the cart. They're not really like, oh yes, we have to push this right now. There's pressure on you. They're winning, but like I don't expect them to be like brain off press W right now. So this isn't a shatter that I would have had super high hopes for. Could this have landed? Absolutely, but this isn't one that I had super high hopes for. And it's just based on how much desire they had to actually press W right now. They don't have a coalescence going. They don't have beat going, a transcendence going. They're not following up on a blizzard or a grab. Like they don't have that much desire. They have W desire, but it's not like must press W levels of desire. Which is sort of what you needed to get a shatter at that distance.
Hold forever!
Triple kill.
I'm on fire.
So shatters are more like when you know they're about to play aggressive on you.
That's one time you go for shatters. So there's lots of Rhine v Rhine shatters that you can do. Like there's Rhine v Rhine shatters that'll take the form of I know that you guys want to aggress because like there is something that is just making you want to aggress, and that might be that something is on a timer and there's times to do it. Now Rhines have gotten pretty good, even at lower levels, of being like, I'm not going to get shattered while I'm aggressing with Nano because I'm watching for it really hard. But there's other things that feel a little shorter, like those support ults, Beat, Transcendence, that they tend to be a little easier to shatter to contain. Similar things, that's why you don't see a ton of offensive Beat use anymore. You'll still see it, but you don't see as much because Rhines have gotten better at reading, okay, this is when you're going to want to do it. You have a very short window of when you can get real value out of this, and so you have to push, and so I can get this shatter off of. So, like, anything that makes your shatter more likely is good. So them having to push because, hey, they want to do it, that's a good time to get shatter off. You can also use shatter because shatters are hard to get off perfectly later in the fight. You can do the, hey, it's not a 6v6 anymore. I'm more willing to use my shatter in a 4v3 or maybe a 3v4 cleanup situation or a 5v5 or whatever it is when there's just a more cooldowns out because, there's a lot of things that can stop shatter, but shatter gets a lot easier to land when that happens and it's a relatively fast charging ult. So you'll see some of it used more then. There's also other things you can do where you can go, hey, I'm going to force face to face with the other Reinhardt where we're literally breathing on each other to do my shatter. Or the, hey, I'm going to, intentionally bait the Rein into shattering me or into shattering my team when I'm at an off angle, and then I'm going to shatter him while he's shattering my team. Like, there's a lot of different Rein tricks that you just have to sort of build a library of over time, because most of the good Rein shatters are only going to work for you once a match, if that makes sense. Like, most of the decisive Rhine shatters kind of only work once a match, and that might be the flank Rhine shatter where they push in and you let them walk past you and then you shatter from behind. That's another one that's pretty well known at this point. Like, most of those big ones that actually win team fights from the get-go basically by themselves are going to be kind of one and done type things. Whereas you can do your, hey, it's a 5v5, the fight simplified shatter multiple times, but that's less decisive type thing. And we can go into more shatters here. You can see stuff where you go, hey, can I shatter the other Rhine when he's fire striking because he's making fire strike mistakes? Can I intentionally make fire strike mistakes in order to get him to fire strike back so that I can shatter him? Like, there's can I start jumping to see if he'll start jumping so that I can shatter him? Because he has a bit of an intuitive desire to mirror you, just like we talked about with that fire strike stuff. Like, I don't want to say fire strikes are just to stop people when they get aggressive, because there is a lot that you can do in the shatter world. There's kind of like, you build yourself a list of like 6 different shatters that you use, 8 different shatters that you use, and then you sort of fill when you don't have one of those shatters with not a cleanup shatter, but a standard shatter. And your standard shatter is just, hey, it's a little later in the fight. It's not the opening move type thing. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
60 seconds remaining.
Get behind!
Good. You're just gonna hard shield. Now you're gonna hard shield. Good. Not sure why you're fire striking. Yeah, that Anna's giving you a little bit of trouble. That's fine.
This is not your time.
30 seconds remaining.
No one.
And ready for more!
Fire at will.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Okay. And now you're just playing a stall.
Round 1 complete.
Okay. I mean, other than, hey,
0.
we like to not get pinned. We like to double stun, even if it just buys us another third of a second, but that's fine.
I don't think that pin I saw.
I'm not convinced that you did either. But if I want to be picky,
Okay.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah. I don't think you saw it either. But that didn't mean that you couldn't see it. That didn't mean that you didn't have, like, here we go. You didn't see the Reinhardt right now.
10 seconds.
No, you saw him
remaining.
set. You did see him set his hut for the pin there. And then, yeah, you
Okay.
see him closing. Did you have very little time? Absolutely. But is that actually anything to do with losing the round? No, not really.
Okay.
0 to 3.
Okay.
Initiating match. Ready for battle.
Be sure to stretch before engaging in rigorous physical activity.
I'll enjoy the quiet while it lasts.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so they're going full meta spawn hold on you.
Attackers
On
incoming.
gas station, sort of on gas station. This isn't usually where you push out when they have gas station. Will you rotate? No. Okay, so usually when they have gas station, you're going to push out this way, and you're sort of going to go, hey, we're going to sort of do this, and we're going to pull attention over here, and that's going to let our McCree peek from over here and actually get the work done. It works a little better than swapping it, which you've done now.
We do it sooner.
Oh, okay.
I think for I went out that door to get the charge for Zarya,
Got it, okay.
but it took her a long time to realize we're going right side.
Barrier activated. There's no glory in a stalled
Great.
payload.
Unfortunate. And you guys are Widow Cree, fine.
That's the best you can do.
You're gonna take a swing. They're gonna be coming up on another wall in about 3 seconds here. Or now, you know. Okay.
Bad guys.
Yeah, your Widow was super late to take her aggression there. That's unfortunate.
My ultimate is charging.
Barrier activated.
I know you're better than that.
It's fine.
Barrier destroyed.
Good tuck.
Don't worry, my friend. I have your shield.
Okay. So you're playing super far ahead, and you recognize that you have 3 on cart here, and you've decided that this car is sort of your cover. This car isn't going to be good enough cover, and your team isn't really here yet, so it's unfortunate, but you're probably going to have to let them out. Good. Well, no. So I liked the retreat to newsstand, movie tickets, whatever this is. I liked this retreat. I probably wanted to actually actually go back here though for it, because I can't really hold this. Like, I can't really hold this spot, and you're just sort of firing platforming right now. Like, are you ready to advance on this other team?
I think in a little bit I will be able to. Like once the cart rounds the corner.
Yeah, but in that case, like, would you rather hold here and be like, oh, I'll be able to advance on them in a second? Or would you rather back up to here and then go, okay, how much shield is it going to cost me to get from here to here?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Not that much. Like, I'm looking at you and you're missing 150 health, 100 health, whatever it is. You're trying to spend barrier to hold this open space, and this open space really isn't that much better than this space right here, and it'll be easier for your team to get support here, and there's less ability for these guys to just all in you here than there is right here. So, like, I don't want you holding this because you can't enforce this. Like, you can't enforce this until your team catches up, and your team catching up is going to be a 1.5 affair, which in that time you could go here and then decide to go back up with your full health.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the type of thing right there that I'm talking about, where you can go, hey, I'm doing this. And I don't know why you are doing this. I'm going to do a jumping fire strike sort of in the middle here. Maybe it's because you're thinking, hey, I'm pretty sure he's not going to do it, etc. Or maybe you are specifically doing I would get such a huge shatter if he'll do this in exchange. Like maybe that's what you're going for here. Maybe you're trying to bait this, but you're taking a risk by doing this fire strike in the first place. As I'm sure you see.
Yeah, I see.
And now this is over. Yep. Okay. On the main axe, you know she's got nothing. That fire strike was absolutely mistaken, is why you're frozen. You 100% shield right here. If you shield, you'll be able to beat this Mei. But, yeah.
I am on fire! Come here and get burned. See through the dark eyes.
The payload has reached the
Mm-hmm. Oh, are we going on a flank adventure? I sort of like it, except that I know I've got too much back here. Like, I know I've got too much back here. If I had these guys here, like, you know, sort of where my Hanzo is, though not really, sure, this would be great. I like the flank Reinhardt coming in here on the off angle. Totally fine by me, except our timing just doesn't work. And with our timing just not working, this should not go well.
You're not wrong. I was upset when this happened.
This could have been great. Like, this is a good example of they're aggressing on you and they want to aggress on you pretty hard because you're isolated. They have a Mei wall up. Like, this could be a very good shatter. I'm not objecting to this shatter going off. You just sort of get robbed by, you know, it
Yeah.
looks like the Mei wall.
Yeah.
Enemy contact.
We cannot stop our
Okay.
step rider. The dragon consume
Sure.
payload safely.
Heroes never die. Heroes never die.
Yeah, I guess your team is enough spread out that you don't want this counterpin. Okay. Fine.
Schutzengel ist da.
Nanoboost almost ready.
Get behind me.
Okay.
I am unstoppable.
And you're going to do it. Yep. I feel robbed. I'm just looking at that Mercy, and I'm like, How is she shattered
Yeah.
over there exactly? Like, okay. You don't want to advance this? Good. On a second, let's be part of this. You have full resources. You have your team with control. So be it. You drop. And that forces you into this fight. Okay. Sure. The jumps don't actually help you if you're not willing to shield flash. Just a reminder.
So I should only jump with this shield out if I'm shield hopping like forward or backwards.
Yeah, jumping only helps you if you're doing the I'm gonna drop the shield when I land for just an instant to get my momentum thing.
Okay.
Just hopping with your shield up, it doesn't do anything. Like, you can have your shield up while you're in the air, but your shield needs to drop for an instant when you're on the ground. And if you're not willing to do that because you're afraid someone is going to get Hanzo'd, someone is going to get High Noon, someone is going to get Widowed, then you just walk normally. You
Okay.
have more movement control if you walk normally.
Fire at will.
Come out and face me.
60 seconds remaining.
Maybe don't hate your Zarya here?
Fire at will.
She's bubbling.
Come
So just
out
stand
and
behind her
face
bubble.
me.
Okay, her bubble's enough in front of you, I suppose. No, you're like actively trying to block her bubble, dude.
Oops.
Yep. We're not weaving that fire strike? I'm a little surprised. You weren't really in danger here. Like, how can we not thread the needle right there? How can we not thread our needle with our fire strike? We've got widow sights. We know where that Reinhardt's gonna be. We're in no danger. I want my fire strike. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Heroes never die.
30 seconds.
Make every second count. Crush their defenses.
Okay.
Come out and face me.
You don't need to push into this yet. So here you are. Okay. Like, your team has their control primarily over here, and I don't really need you to go deep in to try to finish this yet. Like, you haven't won this fight yet. So here you are, and it's a little weird. Like, I'm looking at this, and I guess this is okay. Yeah, I'm... Yeah, okay. I don't really want to just exist here. I hope you're going to back out to, like, here, this side of the cart, after this ends. But let's see. Now... Now you're gonna back out.
10 seconds
Okay.
remaining.
Great. Clearly not the end of the match, but
10 seconds remaining.
Let's get you back in the fight. Heldenstern.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Group up at my position. Group up at my position.
like you can go here, but I don't really need you pressing down main. I probably want you to go up here for your fire strike. Like, again, I'm thinking that's what we're gonna do. You don't have to do a fire strike right now. You have your shatter. I prefer to do them still because of how they randomly, quote unquote, combine with other people's poke to get eliminations. But and again, I probably wouldn't have thrown back at that Reinhardt. I'd have probably looked for, hey, back here, is there something more cute, more interesting? Like, when you have your poke ability, you can play him a little bit more like a poke hero for, hey, let me hit an angle. It's not like you need to be here to take a fight this second.
Okay.
Okay. This is a big opening to cross.
60
Yeah.
seconds.
You won't follow. Good block. I still don't think you can follow it. Okay. So, I personally just don't like this, and I'm going to show you why. So,
60 seconds
here we
remaining.
go. And let's go 2 more here. You're sort of this isn't really a place that fights happen. Like this place that between you and their Zarya isn't really a place that fights happen. And the reason it's not a place that fights happen are look how in the open this is. Like this is so
Mm.
in the open for both teams. So you can go, hey, I can advance to the other team that I want to swing on. Sure, you have that option. But then where do you go? Like, if you go, I'm going to stabilize and start swinging. Like, if you push in to fight this, this is an all-in for you, right? Like, there's nowhere you're going if this fight doesn't work. There's no, well, I'll use what's left of my shield to retreat out after you've started swinging, right?
Right.
So, I don't really like that. And they also, if they try to go stop the cart from getting to about this open space that we talked about between you and Zarya, there's not really a place for them to go. Like, are they going to walk through all this open space to get to you guys? To then they have the same dilemma of we go send this in, and then there isn't really a good place for us to retreat to. You can sort of go over here, but this isn't a permanent resting place. Like, they're sort of in the same scenario. So what really ends up happening here is they're simply not going to stop you guys if you press the cart. Like, if you just go stand behind the cart and sort of use the cart as cover, they're really not going to stop the cart until it gets sort of to where Zarya is. So let's just do that. Why even do a fight right here? Like, we're the offensive team. We would like there to be less team fights. That's perfectly fine with us. And there's no, like, snowball stagger for you to go get right now. So let's just get out and push the cart, is sort of how I'd look at this. I don't want to go take this fight because this is just kind of an extra team fight. And it's an extra team fight that you're having to spend a bunch of resources. Mostly you end up using your health rather than your shields, but you're having to spend a bunch of extra resources
60
to go up here to go take, and you have, you know, less than half shield, you're missing 100 health, and you feel the need to throw your shadow into this because they have places that they can retreat to, and your shadow basically gets you ice block. That's basically what your shadow gets here. And you block their shadow, which is great, but even you, like, you outplayed their Rhine. You blocked his shatter, you got something out of your shatter, even if it's not a very good thing. Like, okay, Ice Block is pretty good, but it's not quite Shatter level good. And then you guys use your Grav. And yes, they answer with Blizzard and Nano, and you guys use High Noon. But you see, like, how many resources we invested into this fight that we're now leaving, and they would have let our cart maybe not get to here, but get to about here for free. You see what I'm saying? Where it's sort of like, this wasn't really necessary.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, and ultimately it turns into a one fight. And part of that is because you have no one fight for them, and part of that is because you simply have nowhere to retreat to.
30 seconds.
Okay. So in those situations where when I have to cross like open field, I should just wait until I have something like a plan B, pretty much.
Use the cart. If you have to cross a bunch of open space like that, it means they would have to cross a bunch of open space too. And if you haven't pushed the cart across that open space yet, well, you get control of this thing that you can use to cross the open space, and they can't stop that without walking across the open space themselves. Yeah.
Okay.
Огонь по готовности. Get in there.
Sure. Okay. I could object to this one. It's not a super big deal. But you're already up in this fight, and it's this like, this is a little dicey.
Oh, the fire strike?
Yeah. With the levels of health that you had. Like, yes, it was a finisher, but you were so weak yourself.
Right.
In a messy situation where the Zarya could have just beamed you down during it.
Helden sterben nicht.
Good. Yep. Anna first. Yep.
This is not the end.
Escorting the payload.
Round. Ready for battle. Ready for battle. Five, four, three, two, one. Hello. Attackers incoming. Escort the payload.
Forward, my friends!
Barriers on.
Okay, we're out here. You're a little late rotating out. There's the ice wall. And you've got nowhere to go. Yeah, I mean, your team's just late getting out. I'm not worried.
There is still more to my tale!
My ultimate is
Come out and face!
30 seconds remaining.
Okay.
enemy contact.
I don't know I'm doing those fire strikes.
Yeah, me neither. Some of them are like as you're retreating behind cover. Sort of. Sort of. I wouldn't do this one at this close range, but so be it. I mean, again, I'd even be much more a fan of you just swinging over here to fire strike across at a cross angle. Like, you're going to get more out of that, but that's okay. why that even happened. Okay, dealt with. Why are we turning? Why are we turning?
It was too late for me to realize like he
Yeah,
was
I know.
dead.
I know. I know why it's happening, but I'm still.
And it's the same situation where I should have backed off to ticket booth or whatever that thing is.
Yep, exactly. Where you're sort of
Okay.
here and this car isn't really good enough cover for you, and you're not like here with this cover or here with this cover. This car isn't really complete cover. Your team isn't really ready, so you're just gonna have to pull it back and play more at ticket booth.
Would it be better if I played at the stairs too? Like the stairs here, right?
Here?
Yeah.
A little bit, but again, your team still isn't really here, so it's a little harder to control. Like this would be better than holding this car, yes, but you can still sort of get overwhelmed and contained in here and you can't get out type thing. Like your team really is back here is the reality of just where this card is, and until they have this sight line, there just isn't a great answer. But yes, this would be better than behind car.
Okay.
So close. So close.
Yep.
Score 3-3. Switching sides. Initiating match. Ready for battle.
How many of you Overwatch people are missing an eye?
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Okay. We've got our corner. Perfectly winnable game. Are we spawn camping? Okay.
G'day, mate.
Don't worry, my friends. I am your
Are we
shield.
actually spawn camping?
I thought that would be the plan, considering that
4,
if we lose that fight in the corner, then that's pretty much game. But that's just me.
I hear you. I'm just trying to understand where the team is, because from your perspective, all I'd seen is Junkrat and you, and I hadn't seen you turn to check if your Zarya was with you, if your Anna had a sight line. I hadn't checked to see what was going on.
1. Attackers incoming. Stop the pick. 60 seconds.
Okay.
Sorry. So in that situation, right? So like, I mean, I don't think the Reinhardt was swinging wide per se because he wasn't approaching me. He was coming from a different direction. But in that situation, should I just stay here or should I go to that team and get the cleaves off?
Do you know that they don't have a Mei yet?
I don't. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
if you
first.
don't know that they don't have a Mei yet, like I'm not even convinced that you can be here, because like they just came out like this, and if this Hanzo is a Mei, you just die. Right? Like you're just not
Gotcha.
gonna get Anna heals and you're just gonna die. So like I hate this because you don't know that they don't have a Mei yet. So I'm actually hard enforcing this corner and going, no, I can't let you in. I can't let you in because okay, you have a Hanzo. Okay, now it's okay. But like I can't let you in because like you can't let them aggress this. And if you do see a Mei wall or something go up, you have to hop back and try to swing around here. So like the question though about them swinging wide is I'm not even sure I see a wide swing here. So let me take a look.
60 seconds.
Oh, this
Yeah.
wasn't a wide swing. Okay.
This isn't really a wide swing, but even if it was them doing a wide swing on you, that I wouldn't necessarily care about by itself because, well, in theory, I have something, hopefully my Ash, but not really, shooting them in the back as they're doing this isn't really a wide swing. This is they're putting themselves in a pincer, and it shuts down the healing that you would get, which is unfortunate. A Mei wall is just doomed for you. It shuts down the healing you would get, which is unfortunate, but it should cause them to just be getting demolished in the back where you can put your shield up. So like I don't
Gotcha.
really care if they put themselves there unless they have a Mei wall. You're gonna have to find a pin because you're not gonna get the support you need here. Yeah.
Seconds remaining.
I'm breaking the corner too much.
What's that?
No, I was talking to myself. I was saying I was breaking the corner too much.
A little bit.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
I mean, I don't need you just occupying this. Like, you can't. You'll be able to contest this from the corner. I don't need you just occupying this space right here. But that's okay.
Oh, I was going for the Hanzo.
Got it. You're up.
I'm just stuck in the car.
Yep. Hard shield. Swing right. Drop shield. Drop shield. Find your moment. Now. Yep.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Good.
Heroes never die.
Okay. So that's good. If we look at your... Don't you dare...
Victory.
I hate how it plays forward after. Like, there's still 3 seconds left. Okay. So... if we look at this in terms of things that you can improve on, your fire strikes have gotten a little wonky in that you're doing some fire strikes in the open or you're doing fire strikes on corner when the other Reinhardt is right there. And I know you know better than that, and we can clean that up. But we can also level it up to a degree where I would like your fire strikes to be less down here and more, hey, let me sound it down this other lane. Or, hey, this is the choke that you expect me to be playing. Let me toss a quick fire strike down here before I go back to the choke that you expect me to be playing. More things like that, where you deliver your fire strike from the angle that they're not planning on. Or, we can do this on third too, because you had an example here where it's like, I'm throwing this fire strike. This fire strike is so boring and predictable. Throw this fire strike instead. You're going to find, hey, it's a wider angle, and on the wider angle, well, they're more watching your team, their core. They're not eyeballs glued to you, and they also get a little like, what? There's a Reinhardt over there? Hey, added benefit. Why not? So, like, I would like a little bit look for these wide angles on your fire strike. Not all the time, but when they're there, when you're sort of in a poke phase, hey, I can go hit this. Like, you're not giving anything up by going, I'm here, we're sort of thinking about it, I'm going to go do this. You're not giving anything important up by leaving here for a moment to go do that in most situations. So that's sort of what I'd like to see when it comes to your fire strikes. I'd also like us to get out of the open space a little bit more, be that this open space that we could pull back to here, or be that this open space where, hey, use the cart. The cart is our friend to get up here. They're not going to take this fight. Like, respect the open spaces that are just bad spots for Reinhardt a little bit more and go, I either need to go find good cover or I need to move the cover up until I can use it type thing. Or, I need to get the next set of cover. And if there's no good cover between here and here, I guess I'll fall back to here, or I'll fall back to here. So a little bit more on both of those things are going to help you out. We also talked about the shatter game a little, and we can go into some level of detail on the shatter game if you want, but really the shatter game sort of becomes build your personal book of shatters. And, we can work on each shatter, but you can't practice your shatters quite the same way that you would practice other things where you go, I am trying to hit this same type of shatter every single time, because most of the decisive shatters just don't work multiple times in a match. So it can be, I'm trying to find 2 different types of shatters besides my standard shatter every match. But you can't try and go, I'm really trying to practice my reaction to aggression shatters, or I'm really trying to practice my chin to chin shatters, because they simply won't work after the first time. So you can't practice those the same way. So I hesitate to put them at the top of your list. And I'd also say if you were working on them, I'd want to work on a couple at once and intentionally be varying it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Then with that in mind, do you have any questions? Anything else you want to get into here?
How was like Well, I guess the only question I have is how was my corner play for the most part? Does still need to be fine tuned, or like what are some things I should be looking for my corner play?
Sure. So your corner play was mostly okay. When it comes to your corner play, like we went over it at the very beginning of the match, how it comes down to be careful about edging out around the corner too far when you don't have that Zarya bubble and there's not something to finish. And we talked about that at the very beginning. And it's not like we didn't see any situations where you pushed yourself out too far. I think we saw another one here, even just a minute or so later. And then I remember seeing one later as well. But this wasn't a big issue, and this wasn't a, oh, you really need to calibrate this tighter. Like I can see that this has been more tightly calibrated quite a bit since our last review, and I'm pretty
Hmm.
happy with what I saw. There's still a couple places, but that's like engagement timing, just like where it's like, what was this? But I didn't make a big deal out of engagement timing because mostly your engagement timing was on point type thing. And it's something that you'll polish forever, engagement timing and sort of this corner aggression. But your corner aggression looked much improved. Yes.
Okay, I think that's the only question I have then.
Cool. Then let me go ahead and call it